Recording in progress. Thank you all and welcome back to Breathing Entirely Dangerous. This is the first episode of season 2, and we're welcoming back the guest that has been part of our most viewed video. No, that's not true. Now one of the most
Dang, I wanted that honorary title. Oh
one of
man.
one of the most viewed videos on the channel, Oji Miller Fernandes.
Hola, compadres. Thank you for listening. It's your boy. I'm back to stir things up, and today we're going to talk about all the weird things that are happening in the media. Oh my God. So, starting with this whole Andrew Tate ordeal, like he's pretty sus. Like, what are you doing?
He's a polarizing figure in the modern media, in the current media.
Like, this dude is, first of all, we all know him. He started off in like martial arts, like kickboxing or whatever, and just I know he's been around for like a while. I think maybe like mid 2000s, whatever. I remember hearing about like his name, and then just out of nowhere, he just starts like, I don't know, maybe I would say in the last few years he's became, I don't know, more relevant in the media, especially with the rise of Donald Trump and everything like that. And he just starts saying very like he says incel-y sort of stuff. I want to say he's not. Just kind of like weird, like misogynistic things about women, and even like he's even a self-proclaimed misogynist and a sexist. Like he's even said it like in, I believe, like in a tweet or something like that.
I don't think anyone in their right mind would admit to being a misogynist.
But then like I looked it up, and that there's even like an article like linked to that. Like who would do that? And then he says like women belong in the home, they can't drive, and that they're given to the man and belong to the man, as well as claiming that men to prefer dating 18-year-old, 19-year-old could likely to have fewer sex with fewer men. Like this dude is like so controlling, man. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
I suppose I don't know. I think it's coming from uh I think it's a pragmatic uh statements. I don't think they're necessary. I think they're just very provocative in a way that, because what I'm looking at, what he's being charged with right now is like the most recent thing about him is he's charged with human trafficking and rape in Romania. So to have that, or to have whatever the things that in the media that he's been accused of or has propagated, are they now do those things hold water, you know, due to these accusations, even if and the things on their face aren't actually misogynistic, but certainly human trafficking and rape.
So he hates women, but then like rapes them. Like I just like I don't get
Well,
it. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I don't, I don't think there's. I don't know if I see a hatred for women, but you'd have to, I'd need to be presented with evidence, because I think the claim of, or the title or the accusation of misogyny, much like narcissism, is being
I think
thrown
that's a
out.
better, yeah, maybe not hatred. So it's a prejudice. So you're not necessarily, which I mean, in certain cases, it could
Right,
go
but
hand in hand.
prejudice is selectivity. It's also,
Yeah,
it's how people have survived through all time, is being selective, being prejudiced, being preferential. You know.
yeah.
So I like the thing you just said, like about men preferring a certain age of women because they have a lower body count. Uh, that sounds about right to me. You know.
A prejudice, yes.
Well, to have a long-term relationship with. You
Yeah.
know, if you care about that sort of thing, not all, everyone cares about
Yeah, the,
that.
the body count thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no, you make a good point.
But like
Um,
you said about the incel, if someone's in the incel community, involuntarily celibate and spewing these things back out, it's like, well, you're not getting none anyway. So
right.
your preference can mean a lot, but what, you're getting nothing because you can't. So you have a preference for someone that doesn't want you right now.
Right. So yeah, by that definition, he wouldn't technically be an incel. It's just a funny thing to say because I just think of like these annoying people that are like on fucking like 4chan. You know what I'm talking about? Those horrible people. Like you think like I'm based on my channel, like I'm based, but at least I'm like nice. Like I could be a selective asshole, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to provoke somebody. I'm only if people come at me is where I defend myself. You know, like otherwise
Yeah,
I'm chill with everyone. But
that's the
this
thing.
dude is just
Yeah.
unabashedly and just brazenly just saying whatever on
Carlos
social
and
media.
yeah, I mean that breeds a certain. It's sort of respectable in a sense where you're saying something unpopular, but is it based in truth? I think that's where you have to. That's where you draw the line. Is something you're saying uh, triggering or provocative for the sake of being a, just for the sake of being something crazy said, or is there a further message that you have? And if people get offended too quickly, I think they'll often miss a message in just because of the delivery. And hey, his message isn't for the people that get easily offended. Then and he might be making a point where it could be missed. You know, I'd have to
Yeah.
look more into actually the
Yeah,
certain.
honestly, I have not looked like I haven't done like a lot of digging. This is just from like a glance of from what I've seen and like social media and stuff like that. But like just from like the yeah, just from what I've heard, what I've witnessed from a glance is this is what I infer, and just kind of like just I don't know, just a vibe that I get from it. Something feels off. Like
Yeah, and there very well could be because look at what he's charged with right now. But
right, like
I'm
something's
just
definitely
coming
off.
from the place of
You're coming
this,
from a place of like logic too, like
right,
which
because
is
the social standard or the threshold for being a misogynist or being labeled as a misogynist is so low. Like if you say something that a
that goes
woman,
against
right,
like
if you
the popular thing,
right
then it's like
that a
you
woman
could be
could take
labeled
offense
as that.
to, right, is like okay, misogynist,
But
narcissist,
anything could be labeled as like
racist,
prejudice or whatever.
right. And
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's very important to delineate what's intentionally um someone's using to intentionally cause harm to someone or something that causes harm to someone or someone takes offense to just by virtue of it being something they disagree with.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God.
gotta be
Is this
careful with that stuff. But
yeah.
look at I'm reading this article. Check it. All right. So I'm reading what he used to do. He used to run a campsite, right, for females in Romania,
Oh,
right?
what the
So he used to run a website. So what he's being
send me that
charged with
article.
is, and what this um, article supposes is, or what victims allege, it says there's two British and two Romanian victims that said that they were pressured to perform pornographic acts um, under by they were later transported, housed in buildings in Ilfov County, were by exercising acts of violence, physical violence, and mental coercion through intimidation, constant surveillance, control, and invoking alleged debts. They were sexually exploited by group members by forcing them to perform demonstrations pornographic for this is a bad translation, for the purpose of
Yeah.
producing and disseminating through social media platforms material having such a character and by submitting to the execution of forced slave. That's a bad translation. So far, 6 injured persons have been identified who were sexually exploited by the organized criminal group. With regard to crime of rape, it was noted that in March 2022, an injured person was forced on 2 different occasions by a suspect through the exercise of physical violence and psychological pressure to have sexual relations. See, the thing that uh, I hate that they put coercion and physical violence in the same sentence, so it weakens it by saying there was coercion, right? Because that at some point that means that someone said yes by because you can't if it's by threat of physical violence, I understand
Well,
it.
the definition of coercion is the practice of persuading someone to do something by using force or threats.
Right.
So to me, it
That
seems like it goes hand in hand.
it it seems redundant though because an act of physical violence was used. If it was used, then coercion seems
Well,
redundant.
yeah, it's definitely redundant, but I don't think they contradict each other.
I don't think it contradicts.
It's definitely redundant.
I think it's redundant and speaks to what actually may more be the case of psychological manipulation. I think that's more so possible than there actually having been physical violence. because it's hand in hand. I mean, if the because these are, I can't say for certain. I can't say for certain. I'm in the modern day. We just experienced the uh Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. We are now able to question these things a little more in depth. So you cannot put a measure on psychological harm, right? Someone only you can make the accusation, and you can have you can only speculate, and you
Mm.
can only have sympathy or empathy for one's that experience, right? Someone can describe it, and you can't prove it. But physical violence, I mean, if there's reports of it, they made a report of it. The guy was arrested and can be held for 30 days. So they're gonna see if that. I don't think that evidence exists any longer. This was in March, and there'd probably have to be a track record of payments of some sort. But it also said human trafficking, so sometimes the girls do get paid. If he's a pimp, then he's going to take his percentage. This is very
Yeah,
strange because this is Romania.
right. Of all places. Not
Very
saying it
interesting.
can't happen there, but it's just still very random.
No, I mean it makes sense. No, I'm talking about in terms of for the law. I don't think Romania is fresh upon human trafficking. Um,
Like their
I,
laws are more lax, is what you're saying? Or they're just not really like informed with these kind of crimes.
I'm saying they're not used to prosecuting these kinds of crimes
Yeah. Okay.
because he's a very public figure
Yeah.
and he's the most famous guy they got right now. So the accusation against him, they have to take action because of how public he is. And usually in Eastern Europe, human trafficking is prevalent.
Mm.
It's more prevalent in it's the United States is the most prolific country for human trafficking. That's a fact. But in Eastern Europe, it's not rare. So for the fact that someone is actually being charged or and we publicly know about it, it's just because of I figure it's just because of this
Because he's a
guy's
public figure.
current infamy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because,
I'd have to
um,
look more into it. That's speculation on my end, but it's interesting nonetheless.
yeah.
And he
I,
was blocked off a lot of social medias too.
yeah, he was like banned from like Twitter, I believe, and I think Elon I think he unbanned him. And what people were clowning him for is that I think it got either he was verified or he wasn't verified, but then he um he got his verification back, but through this new method where you can pay for it and do Twitter Blue.
Uh
So
huh.
I was initially the biggest critic of Twitter Blue, and I'm like, why would I pay for verification? This doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, this is creating like a division of, I want to say class because it's just like maybe not every. I mean, it's only $11 a month or whatever, eight, whatever. It's like this just, I don't know, our division of like social groups is like people that like, like at high school or whatever, the popularity is like,
Hmm.
oh, you have the blue checks, well, I'm only gonna talk to you guys, okay? And so, yeah, everybody else, I'm not gonna talk to you guys because you're not as cool. Because now, like the design of the app is like different, where it prioritizes that. So Elon recently tweeted saying like, if you have a blue check account, then basically I'm gonna put out a poll, and you can vote me out and have a different CEO. And so I had a change of heart, and I was like, you know what? Out of spite, I'm going to sign up for a Twitter Blue account, and I just got approved today. So now I have a blue check by my name. And so next time he
Yo,
opens up that poll, best believe, best believe the votes are going to be trickling in. But now it's even weirder because like seeing like random accounts that clearly should not, I wouldn't say, I'm gonna say it, shouldn't really be verified. It's like you could tell that there's like this weird aura of like there was already cockiness and like entitled, but now it is like exaggerated, if that's the correct word. Let me look that up before I keep talking because I just be talking.
excavated. Never heard it, but that
Yes,
sounds like an interesting word.
excavarate, make a problem, bad situation, negative feeling worse. Excavarate the problem. I was correct. So let me proceed. So yes, that definitely excavated the issue. And no, I could just see even like the way that people tweet now, there's like this underlying feeling or this it seems like everybody's like an underlying like aura of I'm a celebrity now because I have a blue check. Whereas the definition is more so like if you're a notable figure or if you represent an organization and as a person that represents an organization, then by default you are a public figure. Like if I were to work for, I don't know, Fox News and I was like a news reporter, then by default I would be probably have a blue check account even if I don't have that many followers. Or if I played like for a sports team or whatever, like I played basketball for like I don't know, Syracuse University or whatever. And because I was on the team, they're like, well, you represent the school, you're a public figure. So now you have a blue check on your account, whether they like it or not. And they use it as a personal account or not. And so, yeah, I see a lot of those. So it's not like there weren't just regular or schmegular old people that didn't have it. But now it's like even more regular schmegular people that are just like, no,
It's
weird.
very interesting because they actually have. I just looked at this article. They have blue and then they have gold now.
So check the date of the article. I think they had that, and then I think they sunsetted that because I
Oh, did
think the
they?
gold, yes, I think it was very temporary, like in November, but they were still experimenting with like different
I
things
have
they could
that
do to
from December
distinguish
12th.
December
It could,
12th.
yeah.
I think it's a thing that we're going to possibly do because they've been experimenting a lot on this feature for like a while. In fact, I think it was in Europe or Australia for like a year before they brought it out here, right? But like recently, it just gained popularity like here in America, and so yeah, apparently the gold is supposed to be like for I think for certain kind of like accounts, but now it's like everybody has a blue. It's still vastly a lot of accounts that don't have the blue check, right? It just so happens that I paid out of spite. I have a purpose. Also, for me, it's for career advancement because of what I do, the acting, the art, the music, and
Hmm.
whatever. Is that if they're going to prioritize certain accounts and for me to be seen by other verified accounts and they see my replies to certain things based on my interactions that I've had on other apps and success because of like how my username looks or that this, that, and the other, then like maybe they'll be more inclined to reply to me and network with me. So I can help them out, they help me out, and now I have a new friendship or whatever. Not, I mean, I don't want to say it's like a superficial thing, but it could help. Like if I were to mention them on Twitter, it might because there's like I think there's a feature now where like if you only want to be mentioned by other blue check accounts, it could thus help me. So I'm doing it with a purpose, not no necessarily for like a I don't know if trophy is the right word, but more so like a vanity thing. Like I don't really care. But that's why I was so heavily critical at first. I was like, why would I
Hmm.
pay for this? This doesn't make any sense. But I just want to put that out there. That's not the reason why I did it, like at all.
Right, but do you think that the opportunity to purchase it is going to make is it devalues the blue check mark in itself and it loses its meaning?
Yeah, it kind of does.
And
And
I think there's benefits and negatives to it, you know?
right, like because first I didn't see any positives in it, but now I do see positives, and they keep reinventing things. So it's just like so like how I listed before, I do see the positives because of like that. And then it's also they upgraded Twitter now. If you have a blue account as a subscription, then you can also you can edit tweets up to 30 minutes. You could also have like arbitrary things like you could organize your bookmarks or whatever, like when you save a tweet. And there's a couple features in there now that it's like it's a little better. You could like post longer videos or whatever.
I
Like
sent one tweet in 2016 and it said, uh, put her in jail or something like that, or in reference to Hillary Clinton. And that is it.
and then you just disappeared.
That's my only interaction I've ever had with Twitter.
That's
Uh,
so funny. I haven't quite figured out the algorithm either. I like so the public one that I got verified or whatever, it's weird. Yeah, I do not have that many followers at all because I'm just like I really wasn't I just don't understand the whole like I just don't understand it. It's just not like Instagram. Like I feel like some people it's so much easier to get like followers or whatever, and it's just like I just haven't quite cracked the code or whatever. And I don't have the energy to do the whole follow this, follow that. It's like I'd rather you guys just listen to like if I have an important announcement, right? Like if I need to announce that I'm dropping a
mhm.
new video, check it out. Or if I'd like to make commentary on something, then you follow me. I don't want to follow you. I have no interest. And even with this public Instagram account that I have, it's like mainly for that purpose. A lot of people I follow are people that I like to network with, but anybody else, it's just like, well, yeah, that's why I'm like, I'll just give you my number as opposed to like, why do I have to message you on Instagram? Because I'm not on there all the time. Even you, I messaged you on Instagram, but you took a while to respond. I'm like, I just texted it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's not a good primary source of communication because it's just simply not. So I'm like, why do people rely upon this? And trust me, I'm just speaking from experience. Therefore, I just personally, you know what? You guys could crucify me all you want. That's just not me.
I this social media world is like so
Bizarre. It has gotten
And like
significantly worse
it has,
in the
and
last 6 years.
it's really changing culture. And I think from what I've read about and what I understand about the psychological effects that this blue check mark, this verification has had, like it may have led people in the past to lean more or trust more or these verified accounts when they are just like everyone with an anus, they have an opinion, but because they have a
That
blue check mark, that
they're
you're more
valid.
right, that there's more validity out of someone that has popularity. And I think this deconstructs that narrative where it says, okay, anyone that wants a blue check mark can buy one. And it also lets, from a business standpoint, Elon Musk didn't understand how Twitter was functioning when they made no money. So now it's an actual business that is actually going to have a ton of profit somehow with these sort of things and with people's engagement and all sorts of things, which is commendable on his end. But it's even more commendable, I think, the intention of what this effect could have. Will it be successful? I
In the
think
long
people.
term,
I think.
I
I,
don't know, but
I think
in the
people are
short
dumb
term,
enough. I think people are dumb enough to, if for any positive progress, for them not to care, and that's unfortunate. People aren't. I think it's a good step in the right direction. Do I think people will like the direction that he's trying to take it? Uh,
I think it's gonna be mixed opinions like how
I
it is
think,
now.
and I think undoubtedly there'll be pushback because if you just think about who, like people that were blocked, like people that had the accounts disabled for particular things, and it's like there's already a control of narrative, like so there was already a bias in the website. So the removal of that bias by allowing anyone and everyone to be, you have this validation point of validation. It's like I agree with that, but the damage has already been done to a degree. And is this? I don't know how much improvement we'll see from it. I think it has the potential to if people start getting on the same page, but I don't trust people like that anymore. I don't have
No, I
faith.
really don't.
I don't have faith in culture.
It's literally just gotten just to the point. It's just absolutely like it's
Uh,
just ridiculous beyond all belief.
so what will the actual effects of it be versus the intention by Elon Musk that's implementing this new system?
I think more pronounced and overt narcissism, as I stated before. People are just gonna just say, well, that guy has a blue check. I think he's probably talking the truth. Okay. And because
I
even
think that's the current state. Do you think
it
it's going
is,
to build more in that direction?
have you seen it? Have you seen anything in the last 6 years move in a positive direction?
That's true,
As an
but
overarching theme, nothing has positive. If we make progress in anything, it's
mhm.
always 10 steps back. So
No,
I know for a fact it's gonna get worse. That's my
I,
prediction. I also
I,
could be very wrong.
no, I agree of the current stand because I don't. So I think Western society as a whole, Western society has been bred and been more and more bred to be more narcissistic, and but here's the thing. I think it's ingrained within the culture, which is it has some positives to it because the belief in oneself is superior to that of others. There's some importance into one's personal life where you can actually self improve by thinking you're the most important. But which in respect to life, your existence is only dependent upon your existence after you're able to provide for yourself. So you are, in fact, the most important figure in your own life because without your own life, you couldn't experience the lives of other people. So I don't think that's a trait of narcissism is fine is self adulation or a self importance above others, which I is just a trait, and it's not. Narcissism is a combination of behaviors, but in terms of Western society, my headphones are messing up. I think the behaviors of not only self importance but the intention to force others to believe that you are more important, and then to have everything you say be this important thing, and I think that's already ingrained within the culture. I don't know if, and I believe you that there's going to be much worse things that transpire. But I don't think Twitter can get worse. I think the backlash, I think the response to this could be, it's going to show exactly how far gone society is with the narcissism that people have already been, you know, reared in. But I don't imagine it getting worse because of the devaluing of this, class system, because whoever, if you find it important enough, it's $8, and then there's a subscription for $3 a month to have Twitter. So if you don't have $12 to spare, well, blue check mark, then you're going to be doing the same thing you've always been doing, or you're going to use $8 and get yourself a blue check mark. But you, as yourself, that has a different intention for what you would use it for. I think that would be that's was the original purpose of it, right? But I don't know if it's capable of having the same effect because it's going to be devalued. And because now people's like, oh, it's a joke now. Like the Grammys, like winning a certain reward, there had to be there were certain standards that had to be met before, and now it's like, anyone can just get this, right?
Yeah. The
Not
novelty of just a lot of things in life are just wearing off because I think the overarching theme here is accessibility, which is
Mhm.
just everything now. It's like, well, or even people from observation, it seems like people are not even as close to their families anymore. It's like,
Absolutely not.
eh,
You're absolutely right.
and it's like a dramatic, I mean, like a night and day difference. I have like photographic evidence of this, like where I've seen people like really close to their families, like in 2012, 2014. I'm like, okay, like back when we were in like high school, early college, or whatever, and like yeah, just within, I would say, just within that 10-year span. It was like a gradual thing, but progressively got worse. But 2016 hit, it accelerated
Absolutely.
massively when Trump hit office because it's just like, if your leader's gonna act like that, why not you?
So
Like, it's just,
polarizing.
yeah, just people just get
People were
worse.
forced to pick sides,
Yeah, because it wasn't,
or it
I'm not
felt
saying it
like they
wasn't
were
like
forced
that,
to.
wasn't before, but like it definitely
But
got significantly worse.
that's to the fault of a particular political party or a particular set of ideology,
Yeah,
and it's not the one that most people presume it was.
like it's both of them, to be honest with you.
I think yes, I think it was both of them after the fact. I think one of them did in response to another's attack. So it's like, okay, you want people to pick sides? Okay, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. We got the people that already are known to vote. So go ahead, do your thing. Do you think we're going to show you what we about over here? And that's why there's one particular political party that telling people now, without a shadow of a doubt, go out and vote. Go out and vote. Go out. Who do you hear that from mostly? It's like this vote matters because they know the people that they're aiming for aren't usually the ones to vote, and they don't want a repeat of what happened last time, where it's like, okay, we told you to pick sides, but you didn't vote.
So bizarre. I'm just like,
It's
I'm not
very.
saying there wasn't division before. I mean, there definitely was in 2008, but
It
like
was less
compared to that,
pronounced.
it was way less pronounced. Looking at that, it was a joke. It was baby steps. Like it was nothing. Like you could have civil discussions like how we are right now, where now it's just like people just lose their shit, and I'm like,
People don't have civil discussions. There's no
none.
people don't try to reach common ground. There's no decency. There's no objectivity. It's
Let me just say talking points, and let
right.
me just, even if it's wrong, basically, which that they learned from, our
If I'm
former
louder
leader.
than you, I'm right.
And then like people just agree with it, and this goes for both sides. They do the same thing,
If
and
I tweet it enough times, I'm right. If I get it trending,
that's what
I'm
Hitler
right.
did. It's repetition. It's like fucking the perfect marketing. Like say something over and over and over. It's like seeing an ad over and over again. It's like, huh, I don't feel like having Coca-Cola, huh? But I just saw that ad. Okay, well I'll
And
think
damn,
about
those polar bears are cute.
it.
I'm usually
Yeah,
a Pepsi man, but those polar
by
bears,
golly,
they got me rethinking everything, my whole life.
the flex. When I see them polar bears around Christmas, I'll be like, let me get some of that Coca-Cola. You feel me? So yeah,
You never
yeah.
seen a polar bear holding a Pepsi?
You
What do you
got a
see
point
holding a
there.
Pepsi? Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Britney Spears. They don't look like me. I look more like a polar bear. A Coca-Cola is in my.
So yeah, his point. So yeah, so Coca-Cola's more popular because they know how to brand stuff and they know people like polar bears and stuff like that. Some people look like polar bears.
Oh my God. Is that Kendall Jenner holding a Pepsi can and saying you can bring the world together with the bottle of Pepsi?
Oh God, a
Oh
nail in
my
the
God.
coffin with their brand. They haven't fully recovered from that moment
Kendall
ever.
Jenner can end racism with a Pepsi. She's gonna give the
Oh my
police
gosh, she's gonna end
a can,
racism with the
a
Pepsi.
can of
Oh my
Pepsi.
God.
Gonna end police brutality with Pepsi. I usually say go with the blue, but I don't think that's gonna work today.
Oh God, it's funny. Pure comedy. So yeah, uh, what were we saying before?
uh, so coke, cocaine, Colombia, cartels. Uh, I don't know.
Fun fact: Coca-Cola actually started in Georgia.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Interesting. That's why they have the world of coke.
Yep, it started. It started in Georgia, and then like the headquarters is in Atlanta, but it started somewhere further south in Georgia. Can't remember the name of the city, but yeah, of course, as we all know, there originally used to be cocaine in it. It was more of a medicinal thing, and then they're just like, hold up now. This is a little bit too much. Let's make this illegal and start charging people for it. We're gonna remove the cocaine and just call it Coca-Cola. Keep
They removed
the
the
version.
cocaine.
Yeah,
How
but
dare they?
boys, I
I
know
was
the
trying to
best
get
part, right?
high
The
while I
best
got my
part.
booze.
It is what it is. Hey, but if you shop around maybe in Colombia, you could probably find some of that cocaine cola. You feel me?
So you're telling me that Coca-Cola used to be a little bit more sophisticated?
Yeah, it was very sophisticated. It used to actually have the cocaine in it, yeah? It was bloody wicked in it. Oh my God. Yeah, so we were talking about like, just people just we were talking about Twitter
Yeah.
and how it's harder to find like who to trust in. Oh, you know what? In fact, earlier I was watching a deep fake video where this guy had a Morgan Freeman like deep fake and it was a white guy actually. I could probably find the
Like
video,
doing an
but
impersonation?
yeah, but you could tell it wasn't actually real because like
Hmm.
the lip movement like this, it was a little bit more robotic. It was very, very realistic, mind you. It
It was
was
impressive
really, it
nonetheless.
was yeah, it was yeah. To an average person, they probably couldn't tell, but like people that look at details are like, no, that's definitely like a deep fake. But and the way that he was talking was a little bit more choppy, but no, it was his voice. So it's gonna suck because in the future, that's scary. They're gonna rewrite history even more
And
completely.
I keep making mention of this of right now in today's age, while the truth is still accessible, people do not know how to access it, nor are they trying to. And when in the
Nor do they
future,
care.
when it will become nearly impossible to find the original source for any type of information, especially historical things that happened before you were born, people are going to have no point of reference for anything or know how to detect truth. So this is something. It is incredible. I hate life,
Yeah, it's actually terrible, but we're watching it unfold before our eyes
and
because
that's why I'm raising my family in Utah or Wyoming, and my children will be homeschooled. They will be taught how to think for themselves, how to detect truth and detect deception. They will learn how all of these things, and they will be tested and challenged, pass or fail. Uh, this is it's too much, and I hate people, and I love them.
that's funny.
I hate
Fun fact,
society.
guys, I was actually homeschooled for like a little bit, but then I got bored as fuck and I went back to school.
You made a mistake going
I
back to public school.
went to charter school and then went back to public school, but I was mainly in public school most of my life. So,
Uh,
but yeah, I could honestly say that, yeah, no, like first I was truly homeschooled, then I went to homeschool center, and then I went to charter, and then went into public, and then yeah, rest completely public. And so yeah, no, I was totally bored at home, missed
and
human
if
interaction.
right, if people are ragging on the fact that there's not enough social interaction for homeschools, like, would you rather your child be a little bit socially awkward or completely fucking incompetent?
I
I
think
take social awkwardness over incompetence any day of the fucking week, because and I'm not saying everyone that goes to public school is incompetent. I'm saying the most incompetent is bred from people that go to public school to institutional education, because then the mindset and the information and the way people are taught and the information that people have and the way they are taught to perceive information, the way they are taught to understand information is detectable. So you can manipulate the information that they receive, because you know they won't know how to dissect it any further because of the skills that they were taught, because it's a regimen, it's a curriculum, a government curriculum. So if the government knows how people process information, how people will consume information, which is learned in school, then the government, it makes it that much easier for them to manipulate information and feed you something that, even if you try to dissect it like you would do from a scientific perspective, which you can even see the flaws of students currently that don't actually know how the scientific method works from its origin, right? To apply that to any logic puzzle where you have to do these very rigid things and be consistent and have this certain standard that you cannot deviate from, this constant to reference. And if everything is so non-binary, is so spectral, that you don't have a point of reference to start from, something consistent, a line of consistency, then nothing ever will be good enough. Nothing will ever be true, because everyone's thinking my truth, my perspective, this perception, rather than, okay, global truth, a mutual understanding, a calm, objective line, right? And
yeah.
people are putting subjectivities onto science, and how did I get all the way over here? It had to do with the mind. That's how I got over here.
Well, yeah, and it's also just is the word dissemination
Yeah,
of of
of information.
of information. Yeah. So yeah, there is no like there's no bass anymore. I was just gonna use song as an analogy. So it's like yeah, it's like people just playing abstract music where they're not staying on rhythm. They're mixing time signatures.
How dare you talk about jazz in a negative light? What's wrong with you? You're black. What are you going to come after jazz like that for? What are you
Jazz is
doing?
different. Jazz is fantastic.
Don't let them hear you say that. What are you attacking jazz for?
I'm sorry I offended you, jazz fans. I'm a jazz fan too. I identify as a jazz fan. I just thought I'd let everybody know that. I'm coming out with my truth. Winkety wink wink. Wink wink.
As I insult your switching of musical of time signatures and key changes.
I'm transposing my song from G minor 7 to C minor 7 augmented with a ninth, everyone. As you can
And it
see,
doesn't resolve.
my
There's no
keyboard here.
resolution. Where's the resolve?
I just grabbed my keyboard. If this is gonna be also a video, guys, then you just saw my keyboard. But if you guys are listening to this as audio, I just picked up
keyboard.
Yeah, I just picked up my Casio CTK 720. Yeah,
it's about 32 inches in length.
How do you know that?
I don't know.
Is that like a standard for keyboards?
No, I just put out a number out there using a point of reference of your head, which is probably about 7 inches across. I say it's about maybe a little less than 5 of your heads stacked in order. I'm thinking Jeffrey Dahmer style. If your head was removed, how many of your head would fit on this keyboard?
He's speaking from experience, guys. Kind of sus. Oh God. It's gonna be a ridiculous episode. People are gonna listen to this like, what are these blokes talking about? Oh my God.
What's he on about?
Chatting about, bruv.
No, but you were making the comparison where there's what was the
Oh, dissemination.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, just like if you don't have like the base of a song and it's just like just not saying that there's no songs without bass guitars. Don't come for me or
Right.
whatever. I understand that. But
You're
yeah, but if you
following
don't,
it. Yeah.
yeah, if you're not following it, or you're not following like, even if it's no basis, there's at least like a percussion, and you're not following like some sort of rhythm, or you're not following a metronome, something, just some sort of like rhythmic pattern, and you're just doing whatever, then it's just like, what are you playing? You don't sound good. But then somebody gets mad, and it's just like, well, that's just the way I play. Do you hate me? And I'm like, well, just there's a science behind music. And
Right.
it's the reason why it sounds good because it's scientific. It's very mathematical.
Right.
There's different scales where you can predict what notes to play next within that scales because it's the strict and rigid thing that's set by like, people that created this. But it's just sounds that are put together and then somebody measured it and that's just, it's a math thing. In fact, I don't humans didn't really invent it, it's just sounds. This is
Right.
just the result of hitting something at a certain vibration that creates a certain frequency, which is cool. And yeah, you could experiment with it, and people could create new things. And then there's been subsets of subgenres of
Mhm.
each of the things, and it's interesting. But now it's like all the genres are blending together, where it's hard to get an experience, a genuine experience of anything. And this transcends music, by the way. I think fashion
Absolutely.
would be a much better visual analogy. Okay, so if you've noticed in the last Okay, starting, I would say 2013, 2014. That's when like I would say I noticed like extreme change because I witnessed this in high school.
It started
And
in 2012. I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, I really
It
like
started with the
2012.
Party Rockers. That
You're
was
right.
like
Okay, yeah, that party rock is in the house. And
because
that's
go
even though
ahead
I
and say what
love
you're
that
gonna say.
song, even though I love that song, and looking back at that era was so innocent, so much fun, but just using that as like a timestamp.
Hmm.
Like that era. So before that, I remember in high school, my school definitely was like classic where I saw the goth kids with the pants chains.
Hmm.
I saw the preppy kids wearing Abercrombie and Fitch. I saw the ghetto kids wearing South Pole, this, that, or the other. And
And
I
they were
talked to
all
everybody.
somewhat put together based on these classic,
Yeah,
standards that didn't deviate very much.
right. But it's not saying that they didn't all come together and like talk at certain points. They
Right.
did. I talked to all of them. I was friends with pretty much, or the jocks, or whatever. And it's just like you would try to fit in with a certain subculture because which makes you more grounded. And so if you've noticed, like back then in our not saying it was perfect, back in 2012, there we were coming out of a market recession. Not saying that everything was perfect. However, if you could, was the insurrection happening in 2012? No, it happened now because now people don't have any order of anything. Back then, there was a lot more order and something people to I don't know look forward to, just try to classify themselves. And it's just like, okay, I knew when I wanted to hang around and get that, that goth experience, I'd hang with the goth kids, I'd hang with the preppy kids, I'd hang with the emo kids, I'd hang out with those kids, that. And it was like, this is cool. I'm getting different experiences by being around different things. And it's just like, sorry, guys. I get like, um, yeah, and yeah, I would learn a lot more about things, and like people they wouldn't lose their identity just by being around somebody else. But
Hmm.
now it's like there's kind of like a homogenization of culture, where it's like you could go into a store now, and I'm gonna use Hot Topic as an example. I distinctly remember Hot Topic being a very metal goth store. It was actually kind of scary at one point because they had the fog machine going, the walls were literally black, and like yeah, strobe lights. Like I was like, oh my God, I don't want to. I feel like I'm gonna get jumped. Like this is like scary. Like I remember like I went in there as a kid like one time. I went in there for like maybe 5 seconds, looked around, and then just went out because I'm like, nah, I'm about to get jumped, bro. This is some thug shit. Because I knew remember that gang like in Slash music group, Insane Clown Posse. The motherfuckers would go up in there all the time. Remember they were wanted by the FBI, bro. Like them motherfuckers is crazy. And so like I like, oh nah. So I remember subcultures like that,
Hmm.
which are like cool or whatever. Not like endorsing violence or anything. And the two dudes that run the group, they seem like pretty chill or whatever, the rap group. But I mean, like they're fans. They're pretty off the
Hmm.
easy, but not in a good way. Not all of their fans, but like the insane ones. So yeah. But at least then we could predict things. And it's just like even with crime now, there's a difference. Where crime, not saying there's always been people getting murdered, always
Hmm.
people getting shot in this, but now crime is just so like you just can't calculate anything anymore. And to the point where it's just like, yeah, people just do things to do things, Like even here in New York, there's people being pushed onto subway trains where like on the railroad tracks and dying at a massive rate, where even back when things were actually like really bad and the crime rate was like astronomically high, where it is increasing by the month,
Hmm.
but it's like that particular crime. I even confirmed with my family because they were here in the 70s. They're like, yeah, no, that was never really a thing. They're like, that maybe happened once or twice, but no, nobody really did that back then. I'm like, people didn't even do that a few years ago. Like, so it's just like it's this weird like crime is now more so like okay, this is people's thought process and this is how I know they're not grounded.
Hmm.
Okay, say that I don't have a house. I'm hungry. Because I don't have a house or hungry, most likely I'm going to try to, find a homeless shelter and I'm gonna ask for food. Whereas now somebody would be like, I don't have a house. I'm hungry. Let me go kill somebody by pushing them
Right.
on a train. What? That wasn't. There's no motives anymore. There's no clear logical motives to crimes. And again, I'm not endorsing crime, but I'm saying it
No,
was
that
much easier to track. Now it's
yeah,
just like,
that's
what the fuck?
that's certainly a problem. Yeah, and that's the result of multiple issues and multiple failings
Yeah.
societally. And
But yeah, that's a whole other talk. This could be a whole other podcast, but I
yeah,
could just go back to the fashion thing. So fashion thing, it's like now it's like you can literally you go into any store. It's like now at Hot Topic, I see let me further explain that. So now I go into Hot Topic and I see like and I'm gonna just reiterate everyone. I am a fan of anime. I am a fan of goth stuff. I'm a fan of this, that, and the other. I'm a very open-minded person.
I do
But it's
not
like
endorse his lifestyle.
we're two different people. We're two very different people. That's what makes this podcast interesting. That we have very opposite views on things. And it's cool because then there's a difference and we can come to a common agreement,
Right,
right?
a common agreement. You
Yeah.
live your life,
And he lives
and
his.
and I live my life. We're
It's just
not
that simple. And we still
right,
be friends. Like that's how we used to be.
right.
But yeah, I remember having plenty of oh my God. Anyway,
What were you going to call me? Okay.
I, starts with the letter
Racist?
R, starts with the letter R and ends in can.
Uh,
So there are plenty of white Republican friends, growing up. But
oh,
now it's
okay,
like,
okay.
uh, but what was I gonna say? So yeah, I said it's just very bizarre
Race
to me.
car. No, that's instant car. Damn it.
There's no other word that ends in can starts with the letter R that I know of.
Uh,
I was about to say raccoon, but anyway, what was I gonna say? So yeah, you go into Hot Topic now and you can see like anime stuff. And you go into Zoomies. It used to just be strictly about skateboarding culture, which is cool. But now it's like I see just literally verbatim the same anime merch, like My Hero Academia. Not saying they don't have like goth stuff or goth inspired stuff, I should say
Hot
now.
topic.
And
Yeah.
yeah, at Zoomies. And I'm like, I didn't come to Zoomies to find a My Hero Academia shirt. Show me like the hundreds or show me like they don't sell Bathing Ape there. They sell the subsidiary company, which is Billionaire Boys Club, which is
Who
started
at
by
Zoomies
Pharrell.
now?
Yeah, at
Okay.
Zoomies. And like so yeah, but I'm just saying just like several or even like a few years ago where it wasn't so blended, where it's just like now everybody just wants everything everywhere, but there's no unique experience anymore. To the point it's like I don't even want to go out. This all the same. This kind of goes back to the original conversation where it's like Twitter. Now it's just like this whole like culture of narcissism and me, and I want this and I want that, and
The culture of
accessibility, where now
Mhm.
everything is just accessible all the time, and you can just do whatever you want whenever you want. It's if this were actually evidently benefiting us, then why is it that why did the insurrection happen? Why? Because why is it that from they even wrote a law and what I think I don't remember after what war, whatever. I think maybe the Civil War, but they wrote something in the 1800s. They said if an insurrection were to ever break out, blah 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 blah, there would be some sort of consequence, right? So why is it between when we had less surveillance, like getting caught on camera or whatever? Why did that not happen back then? Why did it not happen in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2020? They had so many other opportunities to do that and get away with it, and they could have rewrote history back then to do that. But tell me, why did that happen in 2021 when people have cameras and they can witness that? Clearly, there was a change in culture. There was a change this and they were just that
There was
emboldened
clearly
enough.
one side that had the benefit
Yeah.
of
And
this
they just,
insurrection.
yes. And they,
We can deconstruct this all day, mate.
this is going to be a whole other, it's going to
It's
be a whole other podcast.
it's not even a conspiracy at this point. Um, I think didn't wait, did we? I think
I
I
think we
talked
talked
this
about
out.
this
I
before.
think we talked this out about this. I don't know if it was just a personal conversation we had.
No, I think it was a personal
I
conversation
think
we
it was.
had.
I think it was a private conversation that we had about the insurrection.
But yeah, but that's just going to go
But
off
there's a
of, it's going to
lot
a whole
more
other
information
podcast.
about that now. So even if you want to look into that, there's a lot more information about it right now. No, but like you were saying, all in all, I think that I just clicked my tongue against the roof of my mouth and I sound like a bit. No, but I wanted to make a comment earlier of when you were talking about I don't remember what triggered it. Um, it was before you got into the clothing store. Oh yeah, it was you were making a reference to how everything's being how culture's being homogenized, and you don't see the people are not as different as they used to be. There's not as many delineations, which there's positive things about that culture where you have a
Yeah,
better
there's definitely
understanding of
because
one.
now, yeah, because now it's just like it's cool. You can do whatever you want, but at the same time, that's not good because now everything it's now.
Right.
And I'm not saying that there isn't still uniqueness, and I do. The
The
subcultures
thing,
still technically exist. I still do
right,
see goth people. I do see, but it's not nearly as defined as it used to be.
and
And it's like now it's like I can't get unique experiences anymore because this is boring.
right, and that I think that comes from a place of where people are saying, we're trying to be so inclusive that now it's like, okay, so we're going to try to eradicate subgroups, homogenize. But now the special one is the individual. So now instead of these subcultures being unique and I am the
Structure to
unique person.
define.
Right, I am the unique structure. So I think this consciousness, this social consciousness of narcissism, has made people incredibly uncoachable, and they don't want to be led, right? They want to lead themselves and do whatever fits their life. But so it goes back to this nationalism sense where it's usually attributed to Republicans, right? But if you look at it as a society as a whole, Western culture, they're still basing it off in an individual, because it's like, how am I feeling? How do you should your behavior should be dictated by how I would feel about your behavior. You should know how I would feel about your behavior before you do it. So you should always, it's making people incredibly isolated. It's making people cowards. It's making the ones that are the loudest about being offended, it's making them more powerful and thinking they're more powerful, even though they're the weakest among us. It's giving the weakest people, meaning
A
psychologically
platform.
weak, the loudest right, the highest pedestal.
Yeah,
And these
right.
weak individuals are faux leaders, right? They're the leaders of this culture. They are the ones that are guiding force, and they're deluded, they're delusional, they're crazy, they're reprehensible. You look in their closet, they got 1,000 baby skeletons in there,
Probably, yeah.
dead babies in their closet. How many abortions you got?
It's funny as fuck.
uh,
Um,
no, but there's so many things and so many ways you can see it, where you think there's a, what it used to be called progressive, but you can actually see the regression into how the world and the Western world is even more prejudiced than it was before civil rights, right? And it's obscure, and black people are becoming more of the victims of it, even not even in the sense of violence. It's that, and I think that's rough. I think that's rough, because I think the black people, I think we talked about this already, and it's not exclusive to black people. I think then the people of color, but I'm talking about black people that have is known to be the most disenfranchised race in the United States. They're looking at the wrong aggressor, right? With racism and all these things. It's like, they're solving everyone else's problem. Everyone else is doing these things that, and they're
we're always last. We start everything. We never get credit for
right,
shit.
because everyone's hopping on the fucking back. It's like, oh, let me distract you real quick.
All
They're
right,
getting
and then
attention. Let me take their attention off. And
yep,
it's like,
every single time. It's been like that throughout history.
and it's gross.
It's absolutely ridiculous, man. Oh my God.
Mm.
All right, so this, I
That was
guess this
stupid.
wraps up our um our podcast for today, guys. Looks like you guys got a proper explanation of the current events in the world and how we feel about it, or you know, how are we? I don't know. Maybe I guess, yeah, I guess how we feel about it.
It is what people make it. It's just everyone else's world, and we're living in it.
Yep.
The opposite of narcissism. Let me kill myself, and I
Don't
don't exist anymore. Let everyone else suffer with the decisions that they make.
don't do it,
I'm going
guys.
to cut
Don't.
that out. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. I don't encourage anyone to self-sacrifice unless you feel like you're going to harm someone else, and then do it.
Take it out. Take it.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching or listening. It's been a pleasure to have you back here again, OG. Refreshing. And
Yes, it is a pleasure to be back on this. And guys, you'll hear me back on this podcast again soon with more words of
absolutely.
wisdom. And thank you again, man, for having me on this. This is an absolute blast. I have fun. Hopefully you had fun. And yeah, thank
Is
you
it a
guys for
blast
listening.
much like Kurt Cobain?
Yeah, let's do Kurt
Or
Cobain. He's pretty cool.
you didn't get the reference. That's okay.
No, I didn't get the Kurt Cobain reference.
It
I
was a
mean,
throw. It was a throwback to suicide.
that R backslash Bruce, that went way over my fucking head.
It went through Kurt Cobain's head and took it off.
Oh God.
That's terrible. All right.
All right, yeah, don't worry.
This has been a fun one, intriguing one, and I hope Andrew Tate gets what he deserves, whether that be prison time or a quick release. I hope everyone that gets a Twitter blue mark is responsible with their with their newfound fame, with their newfound accomplishments, with their newfound celebrity, with their newfound responsibility. I hope and pray that society starts trending on a better path towards greener pastures, and uh, and that's about it. That's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. Breathing is highly dangerous, and I hope to see you or hear. I hope that you all see or hear us in the next episode. And be blessed, stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next one.